Welcome to the season 2 premiere of Smark Foundation podcast. I am Aaron. This is Adam.
It is so good to be back. It's so good to be back, seeing your lovely face, hearing your lovely voice. Y'all can't see his lovely face, but it's lovely. Trust me.
I am super glad to be back as well, man. I missed you, my friend.
Oh,
I've missed
yeah.
doing this.
I've been itching. I've been just
Oh
so sick.
man.
It sucks. It sucks. The long and the short of it is, listeners, I got something. Turned out to be walking pneumonia. Didn't know until after the facts, after like a week when it had dissipated and then returned as a raging ear infection. The antibiotics and steroids kicked my butt for 2 days, then didn't work. And so I'm now finishing up another antibiotic to try and get rid of it. My ear is mostly fine. It's a little swimmy, but it doesn't hurt anymore. And my voice has mostly recovered, which you can certainly hear probably now that I have my brand spanking new mic. I sound all clear and not like, I'm being pushed through electrical garbage.
Unfortunately, mine still sounds the same because I have David Beckham for an Amazon driver, and he decided to mishandle my package and break my mic in the process. So I will have my problem fixed next week, and we will both sound very similar and nice and mixed for all you audiophile folks out there. But yeah, I mean, it's not even getting to the Amazon driver. He already got everything I could give him. So, yeah. So, other than that, Adam, how about for the last time live? Let's run through that social media and store info.
Yeah, this will be the last time y'all suffer through my clumsy, clunky, non-rehearsed version of this. So please join us on Blue Sky, our main social media outlet, at Smark FNDN podcast.bsky.social is the main account. Aaron's is aaronsmark.bsky.social. I am Adam Smark FNDN pod.bsky.social. You can find us elsewhere. I mean, you're listening to us now, so clearly you found us. But if you didn't know, you can also hear us on RSS /.com/podcast/Smark Foundation. You can find us on Pandora. You can find us on Spotify. Probably not Apple because they're being jerks still. But you can also find us on YouTube at youtube.com/@Smark Foundation Podcast. And if you want to buy our merch, we also have a merch store at Smark Foundation Podcast.printful.me, where you can get a lovely t-shirt or a mug or a hoodie or a zip-up hoodie with our logo on
And incoming in the next couple of weeks will be brand new merchandise as well for season 2. We're going to have some really cool. I have some ideas and some really cool projects in the works that I think are going to make really great merchandise designs. So look out
I'd like
for
a mouse
that.
pad, personally.
I can definitely do a mouse pad. As far as products go, let me know what products y'all want. I'll make whatever with our logo on it. I mean, if you want a thong or a pair of undies with our logo on the front, I'll make it.
I mean, if Tommy Wiseau can have his own underwear, I don't see why we can't.
That is true. That is true. But I'll have some designs just for a little idea of what some of the stuff this week is going to look, or this season is going to look like. Be on the lookout for our classic RAW logo Spark Foundation podcast hoodie.
Yeah, baby.
Which will be a zip up, I believe. I might go. We might have a lot of zip ups this year. But we are definitely going to have.
I mean, 'tis the season, ain't it?
Stuff. Yeah, it is the season. It's cold outside,
Yeah.
man. And I went outside in a tracksuit jacket. It wasn't doing it. I had to get a nice hoodie, and now I got to go buy a Smark Foundation hoodie so that when I want a nice hoodie, it's that hoodie.
And don't forget, like, just because Aaron is broadcasting from Texas, remember a couple years ago when the Texas senator left his people out in the cold? Texas does get cold in the wintertime. Don't be ignorant. Okay? Listen to Aaron.
Ladies and gentlemen who do not live in Texas may be surprised to know that currently there are 7.5 inches of snow on the ground outside, and we had a
That's more than
freak
there are here
blizzard.
in New York.
We had a freak blizzard on Friday in which I had to leave work early to go and rescue my daughter from school because they decided they were going to get the kids to school. And then because it snowed so heavily during the day, they didn't run the afternoon buses. So all the parents had to come and pick their kids up. It was terrifying. I actually had to drive across town to do a really important errand that had been in place for like a month in the middle of that day and take surface streets only because God forbid I get on the interstate in that weather. Um, and to get around here quickly is interstate because everything's so spread out. So like I had to take surface streets and take like an hour to get where I was going and back. And it just, I hate snow. Like I love snow so much because it really is beautiful and peaceful. Like at nighttime, you just go out and like stare at the snow, you know. I hate it because I have to still live and do things in it. And as
Yeah.
an adult, that's not just sledding and building a snowman. That's driving and being terrified by semi trucks.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what it's like outside in Texas right now for anybody who doesn't know. And it's supposed to be even worse south of here, where it's supposed to be warmer. Like it's even worse. So
Can't tell me global climate change ain't real.
oh no, it
This is
definitely
not
is.
normal. It's not normal.
No, no, it's very rare instance. Like maybe this might have happened 4 times in my life, but three of those have been in like the last 15 years. So
Mm. Anyway, that ends the socio-political and
yeah,
part of the
what a way to
show.
start! What a way to start off season two, huh? By the way, everybody,
I mean,
this
y'all
is
know we're
our
lefties by this point, but like,
yeah, they have
come
to,
on.
they have to. But yeah, this is our season two premiere, folks. Welcome to the Smark Foundation podcast, where we like to talk positively about wrestling.
Yes, we are
Um,
definitely trying to put more positive space in, more positivity in the wrestling space. That doesn't necessarily extend to other spaces,
oh
but
no,
in the wrestling space,
I'm a
we'll be
virulent
positive.
I'm a virulent and mean politicist. I'm a very positive, try to be nice wrestling fan. There are things I don't like, but I'm allowed to not like things, and so are you.
Yeah,
So just
yeah,
everybody,
yeah,
you're allowed to not like things, but just be good faith about it. Like just if you don't like something, don't be like this is a stupid booking decision. Just say I don't like it.
yeah.
That's the difference
I
between being
mean,
good faith and bad faith. It's literally that small line. Like
even questioning booking openly and plainly like that can still be in good faith. Attacking other people for what they like that you don't is not.
no,
It's not
no, it's
okay.
not. Yeah, we don't
It's really
attack
not.
for what they like or what they don't like. Adam and I have very different tastes in what wrestling
Yeah,
is and isn't, what we like and what we don't like.
yeah,
Actually, well, I don't think we have too much of a difference in what wrestling is or isn't because wrestling can be anything. We
yeah,
were just having a conversation about a food fight championship. So
yeah,
I mean, and I was enjoying the conversation and think it's a really cool concept. So like wrestling can be anything.
yeah.
There are, but I mean, there's also I trained into this business side
Yeah.
who's like this is what I was taught at how at what wrestling is.
It's a Venn
um
diagram,
it is a bit of a Venn
you
diagram.
know.
So but we're all here to enjoy wrestling. That's kind of the key. I don't want to be the same and I know Adam doesn't want to be the same like cantankerous I hate wrestling fan that is apparent everywhere on the internet. We're different. We like to be different, and that's what we
Yeah,
do. And we're going to prove it even further in season two. I think we did a really good job in season one. I think we told some awesome stories that, especially ones that people had never heard before. I think
yeah,
we covered really well, like how we got into this business and what we like about wrestling, what we love about wrestling. I think we had. I would toot our own horn so far as to say we had zero bad faith takes
I think so.
in
I
2024.
mean, we
So
tried at the very least.
yeah, and I don't feel like we disagreed or said we didn't like anything for any illegitimate reason.
Yeah,
And we definitely didn't attack anybody else for liking it if they did.
yeah. That said, we're
So
not perfect people, and I think one thing. I mean, if you want to call it a New Year's resolution, go ahead, call it that. I'm not really big into New Year's resolutions, but it's a new year, it's a new season, and this is something that I want to improve upon for myself. So call it that if you want. But I think one thing I can improve is reminding myself that when I don't like something, it doesn't help just to point out that I don't like it. Offer something in return. offer something that might work. It might not work, but at least it's a different idea of something that could maybe improve things. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll be the first to admit, I've said that on this show before, and I've not always held up to that. But I want to change that. I want to be better about that going forward, personally. So here's my New Year's resolution, not New Year's resolution.
I said on Blue Sky
Call
on
me
New
on
Year's.
it.
Yeah,
Call me on it.
yeah, call us on it. If you disagree with, like, I would love to I love sparring. So
Yeah.
if you wanna disagree with something we say, we can respectfully spar it out verbally
Yeah.
and have a good time doing it all over the Blue Sky feed. I have no problem doing any of that. I will interact with you all day long because I work right here at the same desk that I podcast from. So it's a lot of time for Blue Sky. So,
Yeah.
uh, but
I
yeah,
have less
so
time, but I always answer. I
yeah,
always
that's
answer. Get around to it.
so. That being said, we're gonna. I mean, I don't really have New Year's resolutions. I don't do New Year's resolutions. I just try to be better than I was last year. So that's kind of
Yeah.
where I'm at. If you disagree with anything I say, or if you call me on something, I will literally try to work on it. But I also am one to have my opinions. So please just understand that I'm strong-willed. Even
Yeah.
against myself, I'm strong-willed. It's incredibly harsh and hard to
Yeah.
grow.
Go back on YouTube because we just uploaded it. Go back on YouTube, and if you have 4 hours, no, just skip to the end. Skip to the end of our massive first ever episode of this show where we
Mm-hmm.
talk about our fandom at length at the end of the show. And you will see and you will hear the first interaction that Aaron and I ever had. And that will tell you all you need to know about how we approach things in terms of a wrestling space.
Right, right.
Yeah.
I believe in growth
I,
as an individual, though. So I
yes.
actually would like to think that if I ran into like 20-year-old Aaron, that I'd be like, dude, you gotta chill out, man. Like you need to chill
Oh,
a
20-year-old
lot
Adam was
more.
much better. He
Uh,
just kept most of it off the internet.
right, yeah, yeah. Like
Yeah.
actually, I'd
That's
probably tell
okay.
20-year-old Aaron, you see how Adam does his thing, like how he doesn't get angry online. You should just listen, just do what he does.
Yeah. That being said, I left Twitter because I had issues talking with bad faith people about uh, a scenario that the long and the short of it was people who were arguing over this fictional scenario really showed who they were and showed where their priorities were. And I decided I was not going to put myself in a position where I was going to have to put myself in front of those people anymore. So yeah, it's like arguing against a brick wall. If their priorities are only themselves and not other people, you are not going to get through to them. So yeah, I'm
Right.
like, you know what? Blue sky completely alone. It is.
That's where I'm at right now too, especially with Meta's current changes in their what is a slur and what isn't and all that good, like
Yeah.
being able to call
Oh,
people who
but
are
didn't you
obviously
hear
not mentally ill.
you're gonna have feet? I mean, you gotta stick around for feet.
I'd rather skip that and the AI generated users. Um,
Yeah. Let's get into the wrestling because
yeah,
we are tangentializing in a very
yes we
negative
are.
way for our
Yes we
very
are.
first episode back, and
We're
I
positive.
don't want that.
Right. So, let's go. Let's kick it off with our lockup, which is going to be our Raw review this week. For those of you who are wondering about certain things that happened over the course of our break, like Wrestle Kingdoms and stuff like that, we are going to get to that. Okay, we're going to talk about those things because there's some stuff on Wrestle Kingdom that we can't ignore. Okay, like we're not going to talk about the whole card all the way down, but like if we talk about Kenny Omega and Gabe Kidd for 5 minutes, I don't think it's going to hurt anybody's feelings.
No,
So,
probably not.
but we'll start with Raw as we always do. This is probably going to be the shortest Raw review I've ever done in my life because there just really was not a lot to Raw this week. Um, It is a huge Raw. It's historic. It's the very first Raw on Netflix. There wasn't a lot going on here. I mean, there was, but there wasn't. It was the most beautifully large false thing I've ever seen. Like, I don't know how to put this. I loved it because you could definitely tell that they were like, we're going to up the production. We're going to up like the intensity. We're going to up everything. But then they forgot about the space in between all that stuff, which is where the wrestling goes. And they didn't really have a lot of wrestling. And okay, guys, like I do like WWE and I enjoy the wrestlers on WWE, but I am having a problem with how very little wrestling there was on this. Okay, I'm sorry, it's a wrestling show. There was not a lot of wrestling. I don't feel like that's a bad faith take, and I also don't feel like it's non-constructive. More wrestling, please. I
I think
understand
that
why.
was a one-off
Oh,
situation,
I believe
though.
that too. I think tomorrow night when
Big celebration, the whole thing.
yeah, as we record this tomorrow night or tonight, if you're listening to this after it releases on Monday, um, I think it's going to be back to mostly a normal Raw. I think a lot of this was to try to get casual eyes on it and make it bigger than it was. But honestly, I think it may have had the opposite effect because they kind of trotted Hulk Hogan out there. And like I know I'm front loading with all the bad stuff I didn't like, but there was enough for me to like that it's going to end positively. So other than the lack of wrestling and the aged racist, who I will no longer further name, there was also a promo by a person who I also won't talk about because he's a scumbag. And that is 3 parts of Raw that I didn't like and I won't further talk about. Here we are. Now, the positives, the things I really did like about it, because the wrestling that was here was great. The wrestling that was here was really good. I mean, yeah, it was only 3 or 4 matches, but it was good. Man, like Solo and Roman opened the show. They have a banger, completely overbooked, typical bloodline match, but it was cool. I really
I'm
think they
glad to
missed.
hear that because Solo isn't exactly known as a ring general.
No, he's not. He's not. But with Roman in there, I have Roman kind of is, I believe. So,
Yeah, at this point, you got to think so. Yeah.
yeah. So Roman wins, The Rock shows up, and I think, oh great, here's where we start Rock Roman for WrestleMania. But instead, The Rock just like puts the Ulafala on him, like he takes it from Paul Heyman and he presents it to him. After they made this big deal about them actually making The Rock a high chief in Samoa. So he has like a whole name and everything, like that. He's actually a high chief there now. Which
That's pretty dope.
that is
I
pretty
like
cool
that.
actually. But then
Good
they
for
had
him.
this legitimate high chief come and present the Ulafala to Roman Reigns to, I guess, kind of legitimize him more, storyline wise. But then he took his glasses off, kind of stared at him for a minute, and then they hugged each other, and they could audibly be heard telling each other they love each other. I love you, type stuff. I feel like they might have missed an opportunity to have Rock like put the Ulafala on him and then a Rock bottom. But
Well,
I also hear that there's like some Moana 2 reshoots and some other stuff going on. And so, for the live action thing or whatever, I guess Moana live action or whatever, because The Rock's in it, but they're doing reshoots. And that's what I heard. I can't like off the top of my head corroborate where I even heard that, but I heard they were having some reshoots and it's possible that, he won't be able to be there for WrestleMania. So they did all this like where he's seen later in the back drinking with Cody, and they have no problems with one another. Where there obviously storyline line was totally a problem there that was probably going to be rectified at WrestleMania 41 or
yeah.
42, because this is 42 now. But yeah, so
Yep.
they were going to rectify this at WrestleMania 42, but then now they're seeing, now then they had The Rock after drinking immediately get in his truck and start driving. I really wish
Yeah, that's a.
I wish they hadn't.
Yeah,
I
it's
wish they
not
hadn't.
exactly. It's not exactly message conscious.
I think
Um,
I think a lot of the stuff I'm not liking is as a result of the TKO partnership, and I'm I'm really thinking that this TKO owning WWE might not turn out for the best. I think I honestly, if things continue to happen like that, like if things continue going that way, if a couple of things that I've predicted to happen do come to fruition, I might not be long for the WWE fandom. And it's just because there's only so many um, things I can let slide and still cover things, out of respect because I'm still covering WWE at this very moment out of respect for the wrestlers who compete in the company.
And for you
Um,
guys too, who I mean, we're not trying to sow division and take one side over the other.
no, no,
We want to cater to all fans of wrestling.
yeah, I'm
So
just
yeah,
recognizing what
it
my
makes
heart
sense
tells.
to cover the biggest brand in all of sports entertainment.
It does, it
Makes
does.
sense.
But I'm only going where my heart's telling me, and
Yeah.
there's only so many things you can let slide after a while. And I understand why people don't watch this product, and I understand because they make stupid decisions sometimes. The Rock drinking and driving was a stupid decision. Pulling out Hogan on the show at all was a stupid. I don't care if he was there to shield his beer that you have a partnership with. That was a dumb decision. I really hope they take the AEW route, like AEW did with Ric Flair after that backlash, and like execute that contract as quickly as possible and get him the hell out of there.
Yeah.
Like just do what you got
Say
to
what you
do.
want about that partnership in and of itself, but they did pivot.
Yeah, they
Like, I mean,
pivoted.
they used him when they felt they needed to, or when he was contractually, you know, allotted to. They introduced him into this thing, so he had to kind of be there for the end of it. But like, yeah, I mean, they pivoted as best they could after some, uh, let's say, I wouldn't
Some
say harsh.
backlash.
I would say justified, but rather loud criticism.
Right, right. Justified though.
Ooh.
At all at the. But let's. I'll just continue on because I mean I know I keep hitting on things that I didn't like, but I mean, come on WWE, you're like doing like you're hand in hand great and crap. Like just
Yeah,
lose the crap hand and let's go. Like it's
yeah,
just stop promoting people that suck and stop doing things like this. Like it's really simple.
yeah.
um so okay, we had a women's world championship match. We've all been waiting for Rhea Ripley to get her hands on Liv Morgan. For a second there, it looked like this match was going to end like every other match of theirs has ended, and Liv was going to get an oblivion on the chair. Rhea blocked it this time. Ended up hitting her, I think, with two riptides and wins the championship. So Rhea Ripley back to women's world champion. Um, I'm totally cool with it. Uh,
I mean, it was past time,
it
wasn't
was
it?
past time. Yeah, I think I don't know where Charlotte Flair or Becky Lynch is going, but I think it's time for both of them to return. Um, because of the two champions that we have now. And I actually kind of want Charlotte Flair to go over and face Tiffany Stratton. I think that'd be a banger. They both got a killer moonsault, man. It would just be like an aerial battle between the
Well,
two of them. It'd be great.
Charlotte just needs to learn to not over rotate when she's doing it to the floor. She's going to kill somebody, and it might be her.
That might be. We had Jey Uso versus Drew McIntyre. Super banger match. Like Jey Uso making up every day for that WrestleMania match. Like he is doing some killer work now. Him and Drew McIntyre meshed really well as far as the power dynamic and stuff like that. It was just a good match. Um, I'm pretty sure it's just Drew running through all the old bloodline before he get. I don't know if he's going to get to the new blood. Like I still don't know how this works. Like,
I mean, you've got to figure he'll go at Solo.
oh yeah, Solo's part
And
of the old bloodline, but if he's going to go at Solo, he's going to have to go at the new bloodline. So
yeah, so yeah,
so like
um,
this is a really long Drew McIntyre story we're starting to tell here. If this is how it's going to go.
yeah,
Like this is at least 2 months if you
and
do
you can
one guy
tell.
every week. Like
I guarantee you, Jimmy Uso is going to get his rear end
oh,
handed to
he
him. He's always
absolutely
the whipping
is.
boy.
Oh,
He's
he is. Poor
always
guy.
the whipping boy.
So then we had the match that literally everybody was waiting for. The entire reason wrestling fans tuned into this show, and that is CM Punk versus Seth freaking Rollins. And I had seen some people say that Seth had won one of the promo battles leading up to this, but that just is their opinion.
Subjective.
That is objective and it is their opinion, and I do not share it. And that is as far as I will go. I believe CM Punk clean swept all of these promos, and I also believe that he deserved the win and got it. The match was great. However, someone after the and I was almost mad that they pointed this out to me because why did I have to know this? But he did a spot where he got the knee, he hit the knee on Rollins, and Rollins dozed off into the ropes and back, and CM Punk fell on his knees, and Rollins fell on top of him. At which point he lifted Rollins up and gave him to go to sleep, which is exactly what he did to Jon Moxley like 8 months ago, or 10 months, or whatever the last 10, 12. No, it's been more than a year now, hasn't it?
Yeah. So
Uh,
you're
so 16 months
two and a
ago or
half,
so.
2.5 years ago.
2.5 years.
It was the All Out pay-per-view
Okay.
that
So
it was 2022. It was All Out 2022 where Brawl Out happened.
so did we have to do that, guys? But other than that, match was a bang. They beat the hell out of each other, man. It was good. It was really good.
I'm wondering, like, I don't necessarily see that as a slight so much as, I mean, Rollins, so far as I know, Rollins and Mox are still friends, still on good terms,
Now,
even
I mean, if that
though,
was just like Rollins giving like them two giving a
yeah,
shout out to Mox, like maybe
I
even
think
Punk
that's
saying
more
like,
likely.
yeah, I mean, like even if Punk's like no hard, because I mean, I've never heard of drama with Punk and Moxley, so maybe they
Yeah.
don't have a problem. Maybe
The,
this is a shot at AEW,
the
or maybe
closest I've
you
ever heard of drama between them is maybe some of Moxley's promos hitting a little too close to home on his actual thoughts regarding him. But like, I don't know. To me, like if I was in Mox's position, I would probably have been really annoyed with Rollins in 2019 when he started making those comments about how, oh, you're taking food off my table. It's like, what are you talking about? Like,
no,
you're
he's
one
not.
of my best friends, and you're talking about me working somewhere else where I am happier as taking food off. You're a millionaire. There's nobody taking food off your table, Seth. Get over yourself. That's
He's
one of
a,
the big reasons why they needed to turn him heel, is because he kept making those really Homer kind of comments in the face of AEW as this brand new startup that was just getting on TV, and his one of his best friends was at the helm of it, being like one of the main attractions of it, and he couldn't just help but crap on it because he's Seth and he puts his foot in his mouth. But that was 5.5 years ago. So
yeah.
I am sure that if there was ever any animosity over that, if it was me, there would be. But I can't speak for Moxley. If there was anything, I'm pretty sure that's been smoothed out by now. So I think that it's more likely that that was Rollins' way of sending a wink and a nod to his friend in the other company. I think people are making way too big a deal about the finish about it. I think it was a friendly gesture. I do not think that it was a shot across the bow. I think
Well,
that's silly.
it wasn't shoehorned in either, and we naturally progressed to that point and got the spot. Like, so it wasn't like I didn't realize that it was the same exact spot. Like I didn't understand.
Yeah.
Because I mean I just didn't remember.
Yeah, it was 2.5 years ago.
Yeah, so but I mean I didn't see that it was the same spot. I mean some people have way better memories than I do, obviously, but I don't think it was a shot. I wasn't shoehorned into the match in spite or anything like that. So it was just naturally part of the progression. Now, is it the exact same spot? Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh
Um,
yeah, oh it
do
totally
I
is.
think it's a problem? No, nobody on either side has like said anything negative about the other
No.
in any relation to it. So I'm not really worried about that part. The only other thing from this show that I want to cover is that we got a John Cena appearance, and I love John Cena appearances. Famously, as some people might know, I wore a John Cena shirt to WrestleMania 25 and almost got into a fight with a man cosplaying as the Undertaker.
Yeah, that was fun.
He called me so he called me childish for wearing a John Cena shirt
When he was dressed
while dressed
as
as
the
the Undertaker.
Undertaker.
So you could just imagine.
Oh
We will
boy.
tell that story one day, like in full. But
Yeah.
a lot of people already know it.
That
I told
reminds
it
me a
online
lot
a
of
bunch.
yeah. I mean, that reminds me a lot of the time 2 years later when at the Hall of Fame ceremony, the line again in the building in Atlanta, somebody was dressed as Shawn Michaels circa 1995 with the chaps and the chain top and everything. It was kind of awesome and the worst thing ever at the same time.
I mean, like you're at the Hall of Fame.
He had the
I
little
wore a
hat.
suit.
He had the little hat and
Oh my
everything,
god!
the long chain earrings. Like he went full stripper Sean. Like
Like if we
it
didn't know that
was
was Shawn Michaels, we would have thought he was at the wrong convention.
yeah. This was also the same line where because it was Atlanta, because there was of course this guy. There was a guy who wasn't in line. He was he was telling us we were all going to go to hell because we were interested in wrestling. But the best part about it, he was like, when you get there, Satan's gonna pick you up and body slam, body slam you into the lake of fire. It was the best. It
Hell
was
sounds
the
lit.
funniest thing. It was great. Oh,
Oh man. Okay. So,
we
but yeah.
have
So we had a John
stories,
Cena thing.
guys.
John Cena talks about in this thing. He's like, I'm gonna have some good matches, and I'm on my way out. I got X amount of time left. He's like, now I know a lot of people are talking about how maybe I should get that 17th world title, and I have talked about that, and I have said yes, John Cena should win that 17th world championship to break that record.
I agree.
And he says no. I'm not going to do that. He's like, there's no way for me to win the world. He said, but then he's like, but then like the people start chanting, you deserve it. You please, whatever. And he goes, wait a minute. It's like, maybe I could be champion. He's like, but to do that, he's like, I'm not number one contender. He's like, I can't just, he's like, I don't have enough time to just wrestle my way up to number one contendership.
That never stopped John Cena before.
That's true.
To be fair.
So he's now declared for the Royal Rumble.
All right.
I'm with
get him in. Get him in while it's not in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, for sure. Because I'm totally not watching that show. For full disclosure, folks, Royal Rumble 2026 will not be covered here, unfortunately.
Sad times.
I am sad about that. I've never missed a Royal Rumble. Yes, I even watched that 50-man abomination in Saudi Arabia the first time. I'll never do that again. I've never missed a Royal Rumble. I'm so sad about it. Like, you guys don't understand, like, that I cannot morally do it. Okay. And it makes me sad. But that's what it is.
That's a year away.
That's a year away. We're not thinking about it. We're happy right now. And happy right now is John Cena's going to be in this year's Royal Rumble, which is like next month. So freaking awesome. But yeah, that was it. That was really, there wasn't a lot to Raw. Yeah, we had a lot to talk about, but that's because WWE made some good decisions, some really good ones, and some really bad ones. And I'm really excited to kind of see what this week is on Netflix. I think it's going to be kind of back to the same Raw that we're used to. And maybe a little bit more of a mix, but only because they're probably going to try to keep some of those casuals they got last week who are going to come back this week. I don't know how many people watch Squid Game, but Netflix made a big deal about this. So cool.
Yeah. I think they said they had like 8 million viewers live, something like that.
That's wild, man. Like, that's pretty good. That's cool.
Those are Attitude Era numbers.
That is Attitude Era numbers. That's good shit, man. But let's see how. I mean, I'm not really worried about the ratings, but I am curious to see how many casuals stuck around.
Everybody's curious.
I'm curious, man. Like, I'm not gonna say WWE shit because they'll lose like half that next week. But but I think they kind of expect it. So do we.
Yeah, I mean, that's the nature of the beast. It happens literally every time.
Yeah. I actually want to see what the AEW numbers for Max were, because I bet they were huge. I bet they were huge.
I bet they were. I bet they were good, which is weird because like that first show was kind of. I mean, I won't go over it in depth because it was last week, but it was kind of okay.
Hmm.
Like it wasn't like a great Dynamite. It was okay.
Hmm.
So like I'm honestly, they say most of their good stuff for this week.
Oh yeah,
So
dude. This
this
week
week
and
was good.
next week, holy dude,
Yeah,
gosh, I am
I'm
just
excited about next week. I am totally stoked
I have to
for
watch way too
the
much
women's
wrestling.
gauntlet. The women's
Oh,
gauntlet.
dude, me too.
I'm
I'm so stoked.
really, really excited
Let
for that.
Harley Cameron win. Please let Harley Cameron win.
Well, I mean, if it's not going to go to Tony Storm, it should go to another Australian.
I wouldn't be mad, but I bet Tony
Woo!
Storm's going to win and she's going to win in Australia. So,
Yeah, I
um,
mean, we'll talk about that in a little bit.
yeah, we will. We will. But yeah, that's it for Raw this week. Look, dude, Raw was good. Yes, WWE made some stupid decisions, but okay, you got to admit, one, the Intuit Arena is like the best wrestling arena in the world. Like they had lights in the seats that were part of the entrances and stuff like that. Like
I
it was cool, man. It
I
was so
saw some of
cool.
the cameras shots from this show. Like, holy cow, the one where they went like all around, like
Mm-hmm.
the one side of the arena. I've never ever seen wrestling shot like that before. That was
Never.
incredible.
It was so good.
Well,
It was so good.
absolutely stellar production.
Mm-hmm.
Like Kevin Dunn getting out of there was the
Best thing.
best thing for them.
Best thing
They
that.
needed a refresh after having the same presentation for 20 plus years, and
Mm-hmm.
it has served them visually so well.
It has.
I'm
It
so
has.
glad for them. So pumped for the new presentation that they have.
Yeah, we'll see. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But I mean, I was super impressed with the production. I thought they're going in the right way. I thought the CM Punk win was really good. Everybody had great matches. So I mean, let's just put a couple more matches on next week's show and keep going with it. You know, I mean, that's really all I can ask. No Hogan, please. But I don't think he's coming back. I think he probably got what the fans were thinking. Because he was booed, but like he was booed so hard that the subtitles said he was getting booed, and that don't never happen. So
Yeah. They don't
uh,
like to admit
no,
that.
they don't. So yeah, Raw was good except for the couple of things, and I ignore most of that stuff because I just
Yeah,
in some things I can't. So,
gotta
but
cover it, but yeah.
I to cover it, but yeah, I don't have to enjoy it, and I don't enjoy the same things you guys don't enjoy. So, I hope WWE makes better decisions in the future regarding Rob, and get some more wrestling on that show. But yeah, other than that, it was the big event it was supposed to be, and a lot of celebrity appearances and all that stuff. It was what it was supposed to be. So, let's see what happens next week. When they try to keep casuals, but also please a very largely unpleased audience of hardcore fans. So it's impossible. I'd like to see how they try, though.
I
You
mean, we'll
can't please us
see.
both. We're going to see how it goes.
If this was 3 years ago, I'd say they'd find a way, but I'm not so sure now.
We'll see. We'll see. We're Triple H is booking about to get put to the test for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, that
All right.
was it for Raw.